Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Ramya. I'm a product analyst at Vembu Technologies. Today, I will be the organizer for this webinar, and I see attendees are joining in. I would like to inform you regarding the ground rules of the session. So all the attendees will be in the listen-only mode. However, you have a question box. So if you have any questions in between, you can post your questions with our team, and our team will be answering it. So if time permits, we shall also have a Q&A session at the end. So this webinar will be going through some 30 to 35 minutes walkthrough, and I will be ending up this webinar with a small presentation and a quick demo. So let's begin. So today our topic of the day is best practices and consideration for Office 365. I mean a Microsoft 365 backup. So here is the agenda. So we're going to talk about major challenges in protecting Microsoft 365 data, creating an effective backup plan for your Microsoft 365 data, implementing industry best practices, and I'm going to give a walkthrough to the Microsoft 365 Vembu backup for Microsoft 365 and a Q&A session. So first, the benefits of Microsoft 365. So the COVID-19 pandemic has caused millions of people to start working from home for the very first time. Office 365 is ideal for this use case. It was built with remote and mobile workers in the mind. So Microsoft 365 for business is much more than just Microsoft Office in the cloud. So it offers many benefits for business like assisting growth, saving money, and much more. So let's have a look at some of the benefits of Microsoft 365 here. Work anywhere. As long as you're having a working internet connection, you and your workforce will have the ability to work from anywhere. As it's entirely cloud-based, you can access your emails, files, and Office programs from any location. This can help your business as it can drastically increase the productivity. Easy collaboration. In most organizations, working in team is the way the business operates. Do you have teams that work together on tasks, documents, or presentation in your organization as well? Then you will find collaboration feature of Microsoft 365 super beneficial. Everyone who needs to contribute to or edit a document can work on the same version rather than having multiple copies. So versioning is also included in the case you need to go back to an older version. So furthermore, with multi-party HD video, shared calendars, team chats, team members will always be in the sync. Then reduce capital spending. Microsoft 365 is a subscription-based service. This means your organization will be paying a low monthly fee for every user as opposed to taking a huge chunk out of the budget and paying a large lump sum upfront as in case of regular Microsoft packages. This is a huge benefit as it can be helpful from cash flow perspective as plans are typically paid month to month and it allows the finance team to plan a budget much easier. It allows user to turn off or like when you are using to save the organization even more money. This feature can also be beneficial for organization as it allows for scalability up or down. Eliminates hardware. Because offices run in the cloud, you don't need servers for your website, emails, or document storage. The cost savings are substantial. Removing on-site servers will reduce both energy cost and the need for office space to store hardware. Stay up to date. Remember those days? Microsoft releases new version of Office and you have to pay to upgrade for the latest version. Those days are in the past. With Microsoft 365, organization can benefit from always having a latest version of Microsoft 365 at no additional charges. The latest version are always available as part of your subscription. This means no going around to each computer, uninstalling the older version and replacing them with new. With Microsoft 365, we constantly the Microsoft is constantly making updates across various programs, so you will have access to all of them. This depends on the plan that's been chosen, and you will also have full access to your desktop version in the offline usage. Cool, isn't it? Yeah. So these are only a few of the benefits of Microsoft 365, and it offers some clear advantage over business. So whether you need to boost your collaborative abilities, improve productivity, or ensure your days stay secure, from online meetings to sharing documents to business class email, Microsoft 365 delivers solutions that go way beyond the installed version of Microsoft Office. So now, who's responsible for the Microsoft 365 data protection? Is it Microsoft who takes care of everything? We all know that Microsoft 365 helps companies with advanced productivity tools, including Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for business, and much more. But what about data protection for Microsoft 365? Do you know that keeping your data safe and compliant is your responsibility? So if not, we will check out the next slides for more details. Shared responsibility model. When you purchase a license for Microsoft 365, the last thing on your mind is data backup and disaster recovery, isn't it? This is because most people assume that Microsoft is responsible for backing up everything from your calendars and your emails to your files in SharePoint and OneDrive. This could stem at the belief that everything in the cloud is backed up. To those users who think that Microsoft is fully responsible for taking care of cloud data, here comes the concept of Microsoft 365 shared responsible model. Microsoft operates on a shared responsibility model. With this, Microsoft is only responsible for Microsoft 365 infrastructure and uptime of the cloud and apps within Office 365. So which means if you are currently relying on Microsoft to protect your organization from data loss, your data and your business are at risk. So who is responsible for what? Understanding the importance of data security and availability, both Microsoft and the company officials are held accountable for the same. While Microsoft has industry-leading security measures in place, they only protect you from natural disasters, power outages, hardware failures that affect your data center. So additionally, the Microsoft 365 user interface provides identification and authentication in the online service along with a supervision over user control and the admin. So when a user accidentally deletes a critical file, many administrators are forced to face the harsh reality that Microsoft can't guarantee a complete and speedy restore of that file, isn't it? So IT admin's duty begins at the data level. Various cloud computing security risks need to be taken care of. These risks pertain to be like accidental deletion, ransomware attack, unauthorized sharing of data, and many more, which we'll be seeing in the next slide. So the bottom line when it comes to Microsoft 365 is that it's your data, you own it, you control it, and you are responsible for managing all the data archives within Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive, etc. So even when data is retrieved from Microsoft, the process is very, very long. Okay. So now we'll see like what are the sources of data loss. Protecting data in Microsoft 365 is no less important than backing up on-premise data. It is valuable for business data and deserves to be protected. Many of the same threats to data in customer-owned data centers apply to data in cloud too. So now we know that the data is your responsibility. So let's see a few of data sources. Accidental deletion. Did you know that the number one cause of data loss in the cloud and SaaS solution like Microsoft 365 is accidental data deletion? About 70% of all data is due to accident. It's lost due to accidental or malicious deletion by end user, system failure, viruses, or a fire, or some natural disaster. So if you delete a user, whether or not you plan to, the deletion will be across the network, along with the deletion of their OneDrive data, mailboxes, etc. Native recycling bin and versioning history used in Microsoft 365 will only protect you from data loss in a restricted way. Retention policy gaps. Microsoft Office 365 has minimal retention policy with recycle bin architecture to maintain data loss by unintentional or purposeful deletion. So although Microsoft allows the limited flexibility of business administrators to extend their recycle bin retention time, this feature takes up a lot of disk space at considerable extra cost. But access to such data is not made available to administrators or end users, and it is intended to help in the quick or simple point-in-time recovery of missing data. So businesses wishing to make restoration from any point in time need a third-party Office 365 backup. Internal threats. So business face risk from the inside, and they happen more often than you think. Organizations fall victim to threats by a very own employee deliberately. Access to files can be modified so easily, which cannot be monitored every time by the organization. Microsoft has no way of knowing if the deletion of a data was done accidentally, maliciously, or intentionally. External threats. So malwares and viruses such as ransomware have seriously affected companies across the globe. The company's reputation is not only at risk, but also the privacy and the security of the internal employees and the customer data. So external threats can creep in via emails and attachments, so informing users on what to look for isn't always enough. Though Microsoft has high security measures, it only has limited protection against malware attacks. This means that Microsoft 365 data is vulnerable to destruction or modification, though the variety of malware. Consequence of data loss. So now we know that the data is your responsibility. Let's see the consequence. So what would happen in a scenario where the business has lost all its data due to a reason like a malware, virus attack, server crash, data corruption, device theft, or any such events? So one thing for sure, the business will regret not having enough for its data security. Apart from its obvious regret, the following are some of the grave consequences that lie against the business that has just lost its valuable data. So the first is like your business under employee productivity could get seriously affected. Data loss would impair the productivity aspects of your business. Since we know critical data is in the driving daily activities of your business, not having access to its data would make it impossible for your employees to work on your workflows to continue seamlessly. This would continue to be the case until the data has been recovered entirely. In the absence of the data, you may even find it difficult to take important business decisions, since most businesses today leverage data-driven decision-making skills. So in this way, data loss put the present as well as the future of your business at high risk. And then your customer may lose faith in you. Yes, obviously. So as we know, it takes years to earn the trust of your customer, but only one unpleasant event like data loss to lose all the hard-earned trust. A business that has been a victim of data loss may struggle to retain the trust and loyalty of its customer because such an event is often perceived by customers as negligence as a part of the business. If the data that has been lost, that of a customer, then their discontentment could only be magnified. Therefore, losing your data could also mean losing your customers. So additionally, a data loss event doesn't stop haunting your business anytime soon. So you not only stand to lose your existing customer, but you also run a risk of turning away a new potential customers too. Legal ramification may follow next. Data loss exposes a business to all sorts of legal actions like fines and lawsuits. If a data loss includes customer data, then you may have to face fines for being unable to adhere the data protection related laws and regulations. Shareholder lawsuits are also at risk. Because your business operations are affected in the event of data loss, you would also be sued for being unable to perform the duties that are accountable for as a business. Moreover, you may be sued by the customer who have been directly affected by the data loss. Getting caught up these legal battles can worsen your already weakened business conditions. Eventually, this will lead to most of the companies to go out of the business too. So to avoid those, there are some industry best practices which you can follow. 3-to-1 backup rule. People often tend to think in terms of probability or improbability of big natural disasters for their location. Of course, tornadoes, earthquakes, or flood could be the most unlikely of events for your city. You may also not believe in the probability of terrorist attack, but most of the common attacks that lead to a data loss or corruption are always present. Even if your facility is well protected against theft, voltage surges, and water or fire damage, there are still many other threats which are largely outside of your control, like device failure, viruses, malicious attack, volume or directory glitches, transfer corruptions, or human errors. The 3-to-1 backup rule is a good recommended start in building any protection system, a way to protect your data from loss, corruption, and to control risk in the whole mentioned situation. So being well prepared in advance is the best data protection policy. The 3-to-1 backup rule is an easy to remember acronym for a common approach to keep your data safe in almost any failure scenario. The rule is keep at least 3 copies of your data and store 2 backup copies on different storage media with one of them located off-site. Ensure accessibility to the BDRSuite. BDRSuite ensures that operation can continue regardless of any disaster. They can only function as a means of replicating data from the main site to ensure minimal data loss. A BDRSuite greatly reduces risk to the organization and eliminates the possibility of devastating data loss incident or a period of downtime that can cripple the organization. In the current disaster scenario, cyber attacks, ransomware have become a realistic new threat, resulting in a significant outrages. The modern BDRSuite, therefore, must cater to the possibility and ensure the logical separation of production and the recovery from the network access standpoint, while having multiple snapshots of your data to enable cyber recovery. It is also a key to guarantee that recovery technology includes automation, orchestration to deliver minimal downtime and aggressive RTOs. Scalable solution. Data infrastructure today would be unrecognizable 20 years ago. And the biggest difference is the volume of data. There are more data sources, more metadata, and more locations for data. Even as the infrastructure it protects, evolves, most backup solutions still reflects the architecture of the past. Therefore, while organizations automate every other part of the data infrastructure, backup requires even more manual efforts to fill in the architectural gap. Fortunately, you can leapfrog into the future with SaaS data protection. With a backup architecture designed for the cloud, separating data and metadata, securing the infrastructure and the data, and scaling up and down on demand. So data backup can become the most scalable part of your environment. By adopting a proven SaaS solution, you can shift from backup being your most human-intensive operation to the least. Don't be distracted by speeds or feeds. Focus on solving the real goal. Data backup should just automatically work. Then keep your plan updated. No one wants to lose hard work, time, or orders because of technical problems with the server or computer. An accidental deletion or malwares, defacing, or hacking. One of the best ways to avoid data loss is to have a good backup system in place. But what goes into developing and implementing a good backup plan? What should you backup? How often you think you need to take a backup? Where should you keep your backup? How can you make sure data and your variable investments are protected? Well, so you should be having a detailed plan which suits your own organization. And every plan for every organization differs. Next, you should have a proper training for a DR personnel. Just like many office practice prior drills to protect employees, Having a well-prepared infrastructure also requires an occasional drill to ensure critical data remains protected. Unfortunately, many organizations don't take the time to plan training or drills, believing it's unproductive or unnecessary. Studies show that 75% of small business have the "it will never happen to us" mindset and forego a legitimate plan of action. But according to many surveys, the reality is of the all small business will never reopen following a disaster. That means if there is no plan in place, it's time to create one. And if plan is in place, it's time to make sure your employees fully understand those. So how Vembu helps? To begin with, let's start a little about introduction about Vembu. So we are a fast-growing backup software company. We have more than a decade and a half years of experience in the data protection market. So our customer base is spread across 100 plus countries. And so far, we have reached 60,000 plus businesses across the globe. Vembu created a strong partnership with industry-leading technology vendors to provide high availability to the data centers, and few of our business technology partners are VMware, Microsoft, NetApp, Amazon, Red Hat, and HP. So these are the few of our customers. So Vembu is honored to serve some of the finest companies in the world. Among our customer base, you will find recognizable worldwide firms as well as reputed local companies too. So Vembu BDRSuite. Vembu is a leading player in the backup and disaster recovery market for small and medium businesses. Our flagship offering, Vembu BDRSuite, is a comprehensive backup and disaster recovery solution designed to protect the data across diverse IT environments that include the virtual environment like VMware Hyper-V, physical Windows, Linux, and Mac machines, cloud workloads like AWS, Azure, and SaaS applications like Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace. So our solutions are extremely affordable and ideal for business of any size with a tight budget. Vembu backup for Microsoft 365. So Vembu, with 15 years plus experience in data disaster recovery market, offers a reliable and easy to use backup solution for Microsoft 365 mailboxes, calendars, contacts, drive data. So with Vembu Office 365 backup, you can back up your mails, contacts, calendars, drive items, recover data anywhere and anytime, restore domains or user level data, store your data on-premise or in Vembu Cloud, export into multiple formats like .pst, .eml, .vcf, and .icf, and replicate your business critical data to any cloud object storage. Retain your data for any number of days with flexible retentions, retrieve your data with inbuilt searches, secure your data both in flight and storage with AES 256-bit encryption, monitor your backup process through reliable reports, review and restore your mails and mail attachments, comply and legal requirement policy and regulations. So all in one with Vembu, reduce unnecessary cost and keep your business running all the time. So these are the few of the supported environments, and we support Outlook backup, Calendar backup, Contacts backup, OneDrive for Business backup, Exchange Online backup, SharePoint Online backup, Teams backup, and Microsoft Groups backup. So deployment. So as I said before, we have two different types of deployment. One is on-premise, another is a cloud. So in on-premise deployment, you can store your data either on your local data center or in hyperscale public clouds like Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, and much more. So you have a complete control of your Office 365 data. And you can store your data on-premise, and Vembu helps in meeting your local and legal compliance like GDPR, HIPAA, FIPS 142, etc. And when it comes for Vembu Cloud, so you can store your Microsoft 365 data in Vembu Cloud. There is no setup and maintenance required. Vembu holds it cloud server in AWS, where AWS ensures safeguarding of your data as a GDPR compliance. So these are the Vembu Cloud data centers. So we have 4 data centers around the world. One is US East, North Virginia, US West, Oregon, EU West, Ireland, Asia Pacific, Sydney. And the key takeaways for the today's session is, so we Microsoft as a shared responsibility model, as I said, and the data is in the cloud is still at risk. So you are responsible for your Microsoft 365 data. Being in a compliant is being always peaceful. And Vembu Backup for Microsoft 365 will help you protect your data in the cloud. So followed by this webinar, I'm just going to give you a demonstration of a new beta, which we are planning to launch very soon. So the product already there in the market with the production release, with which you'll be able to back up your mails, calendars, contacts, and Drive. So as the new release, a new beta release, which as version 5.0, we are planning to launch a SharePoint Online, Teams, Groups, and shared Mailbox, and much more new features and UI enhancements. So we'll dive into a demonstration. So www.vembu.com is our website ID. You have to click on a download tab. Clicking on a download tab, it will direct it to your download page where you can find the Windows-based installer. So this installer is in a version 4.2.0.1. Okay, so once you install, you'll be getting 30 days free trial to evaluate the product. And with this version, you'll be able to back up your mails, contacts, calendars, and the Drive data. So as I said, we're also planning for a major upgrade, version 5.0. And now I'm going to show you the console for the same. So once you download the product and install, you'll be having 2 options to log in. So either you can double click on the icon over the desktop, or just give the IP address of the machine followed by 6060 port number to open a web-based console. So once you log in, you have to click on Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace. So once you're done, click on BDR infrastructure first and select your backup repository. So you can either select cloud storage or object storage. So in cloud storage, you can keep your NAS, SAN, local drives, or hard drives. And in object storage, you can choose S3 or S3 Comfortable Cloud as the backup repository. And then you need to configure SMTP settings in case if you want to mail all the reports which the BDR generates. And then in case if you want to go for a web proxy, you can configure with this option. And then you have to select the time zone for the same. Once the BDR infrastructure is done, you have to move on to the production infrastructure. So since we need to add the organization first, so click on Add Microsoft 365 Organization. So once you click, you will be able to see a screen. So here you can see a button at Add Microsoft 365 Organization here. So click on the button and you need to follow certain steps with which you will be generating an application ID and a secret key with which you will let Vembu to access your Microsoft 365 account. So once you give the required permission, our Vembu software can access your Microsoft 365 data and able to back up your mails and other stuff. So once you just click or give the organization name, the tenant ID, which Microsoft 365 provides you, and then the application ID, the secret key with the steps you generate here, click on Save. Your organization will be saved. Here you can add any number of organizations and you can configure any number of backup jobs for each and every organization. So once you're done with adding the organization, then you can go for backup and click on Configure Backup and choose Microsoft 365 here. So just give backup job a name, say like webinar, and you can choose either you want to go for block storage or object storage, and then you can select the repository accordingly and give a description. Okay, so once all done, click on next. So next, you have to choose the organization. As I said, you can add any number of organization. All the organization will be showing you in the drop-down list. You can choose whichever organization you need to back up, and then we can either have two objects to be selected. Either you can back up the entire organization, or you can select the objects which need to be backed up. Say like user mailbox, group mailbox, or SharePoint site. You can even you can choose these options according to your requirement. So once done, then you will be selecting the components, the objects accordingly, the entities of your mailbox, SharePoint, groups, and other stuff. So first, you have to select the domain. So I have two domains added here, and I'm applying it. And then I have to choose the user. So I can either choose all the users to get backup, or I can only choose the specific users. So if I give the option of specific users, all the users in my organization will be listed here. I can click on the critical users which I need to go for backup. Else, I can also select users by groups. So if you have enabled groups, and so far you can also list the group users accordingly and select the users to whom you wish to backup. So here I'm going to select 3 users, and then I have to configure the group mailbox. So again, I'll be selecting at what domain I have to select the group mailbox, and again I'll be choosing the groups, either all groups to be backed up or any specific groups. So if I choose this option, all the groups will be loaded here, and I can choose whichever group I need to go for backup. And I can also select the data to backup, either the group conversation or the group OneDrive, either of them or both, and then click on next for the SharePoint backup. So in the SharePoint backup, all the sites are displayed by default. So you can just uncheck if you want any sites to be excluded, or you can take a complete backup and click on next for the teams. So similar to SharePoint site, all the teams in the Microsoft 365 organization will be listed. You can uncheck any of the teams which you don't want to back. And next comes about the scheduling. So we offer like scheduling daily, few hours, or weekly. So you can have a RPO of every 1 hour. So our RPO for a backup is like every 1 hour. Or you can also trigger backup like different hour a day, or daily in a slot of time, or weekly in a slot of day and a slot of time. And then you can also choose the retry attempts for the backup failure, and the like how many times the backup has to it has to check before retry attempt, when it's to wait to check for the retry attempts. So once all are selected, click on next. So by default, the compression is enabled. If in case you want to disable this, you can do it by in the UI, or you can go for the retention. So like every time you trigger a backup, a recovery point will be created, and you can just customize the restore recovery point for the mailbox, SharePoint sites, groups, teams, and group mailbox. And once all done, just review all your selections and click on save, so that your backup will be saved and start backing up. So you will be also having a run this backup job immediately checkbox, but when you checked in, it will start the backup immediately. So after backing up, then you can go for recovery. So in the recovery, we need to select the backup job you wish to recover and click on restore. So you'll be seeing 4 options to either restore the user mailbox. The included items are mails, calendars, contacts, and drive data. You can recover those granularly, or you can choose for group or shared mailbox, where you can granularly recover the conversation or the OneDrive group OneDrive or group conversation items. Or you can go for SharePoint sites, with which you can granularly recover the sites, libraries, or library items. And finally, the restore teams, with which you can granularly restore the teams, channels, and the channel items. Let's see one by one. So first I'm going to recover the user mailbox, and when I click on restore, so I have to choose the organization and then the timestamp which I want to recover, and then I have to choose the mailbox. So once I choose, I have to choose whether I want to restore the complete mailbox. So the selected users, complete mails, OneDrive, calendars, and the contacts will be restored. Or else I can choose restore email, mails, and then I can restore either in the folder level, like complete inbox, or I can just choose, I can just make sure the inbox is expanded and choose whichever mail I want to. So just now I have only one mail in this inbox, so I'm choosing this. Even I want to view the mail, I can view it. And if I want to download as a EML format, I can do it. Else, I can move next. And in the restore option, I can either restore as a PSD download, or I can restore to the same user, or I can restore to the different mailbox. So if I choose the restore to the different mailbox, I need to select a target. So all the mailbox in my organization will be listed, and I can choose whichever mailbox I have to just restore the mailbox to. And then just next, I have to review all my selections and click on restore so that the restoration begins. So this is how you will be restoring the mailbox. Later, if you want to restore the group or share mailbox, you can click on the restore version and then click on the organization. Similarly, the timestamp, and then you have to choose the mailbox. So here, if you click on restore the complete group mailbox, the group conversation as well as the group OneDrive will be restored. Or you can manually choose you want to go for conversations, and you can choose whatever conversation you have, or you can choose for group OneDrive and choose the files accordingly. In my OneDrive, I don't have any files. And so once I'm done, again, rest everything is same. So I have to choose a restore option either to the same group or to the different mailbox. If I choose the different mailbox, obviously I have to select the restore target and choose any user in the domain. And once done, I have to review all my selections and click on restore button, and the restoration process will begin. So next, I'm going to show you about restoring SharePoint sites. So first thing, you have to select on the timestamp which you have to restore, and you can choose either to restore the site so that the library and the folder items, everything will be restored, or like you can choose the library or even the folder items. So if I choose the restore site, I can see all the sites which I backed up will be displaying here, and I can choose whichever site I want to. If I choose a library, first I have to choose the site, and then I can see like what are items there in the library. So if I want to restore its document or template or site asset or site pages or site library, I can do it. Else, I can go for even more granularity by restoring the folders or items. I have to select the site first, and I have to select the library first, second, and then I have to choose the folder last, like what folder and what file I need. Okay. Yeah. So once done, so I can either restore it to the original site itself, or I can choose from the existing sites. Like any of the sites, I can just restore from any of the existing sites. Or if I want to create a new site also, I can create the same here. Okay. And later, even the target library, also I can select the original library or choose from existing library, or I can create a new library and give a description for the same. So once done, I have to review all my selections and click on restore, my SharePoint online will be started restoring. And then finally, I wish I show you the Teams recovery. So click on Restore Teams, select the timestamp, and then choose the items you wish to recover, like Restore Teams, Restore Channel, or Restore Folder items. So if I select the Restore Teams, or like all my teams which I've backed up will be displayed here. I can choose any one of them, or I can go for the Restore Channels and choose which from which team I have to restore the channels, and I can click on the channel accordingly. Or like SharePoint, I can go even more granular and select the folder items, so that I have to first choose the team and then next choose the channel. So from that I can choose like what files or folders I wish to restore. So I can choose like any one or two and click on next. So as like SharePoint, so I'll be also having a original theme, or I can choose from the existing theme, or even a channel. I can choose the original channel or choose any channel which is already available. Once I'm done with the selection, I have to review all my selection and click on restore, so that the restore begins. So that's all for the recovery. And next comes about the list reports. So we can click on the recent job schedules for Microsoft 365 here, which gives the entire status of your backup, like what is whether the backup is a failure or success, or what is the original size, what is the compressed size, and like what the total number of domains you backed up, and what is the success rate, what is the failure rate in user mailbox, group mailbox, SharePoint team. Everything will be there as a detailed report, and even you can look for the historical reports here for each and every backup jobs. Also, you can have a restore reports, which gives status of your restoration, and download PST reports as well, which gives status if you download something as a PST file. And then an email notification feature. So if you configure the SMTP settings, these reports can be mailed to you, either the success or failure or both, like in a backup, restore, or delete, like whatever you do. You can configure a SMTP settings for receiving the reports in a mail. And then finally, in the management, you will be able to manage all your license here, and then you can assign users, and you can switch between the edition during the trial. So that's it. And if you have any questions, you can just ask the questions, and one of our team member will definitely be replying you. Also, like, thanks for your time. And since we got like many questions, you will be receiving a mail in case if you have dropped the question. Definitely you'll be receiving a mail for all the answers. Thank you for signing up with the Vembu webinar, and thanks for your time.